Welcome to my channel. My name is Opubo. For those of you new to the channel, I welcome you. For those of you returning, I bid you welcome back. Good to have you return. You are well appreciated. As always, in this channel, I present various ideas and technologies of designs of technologies, mostly from the Technology IP Bank of Enhanced Knowledge LLC, often integrated from several other technologies already within the bank and made ready for adoption by the Adoption Brokerage Division. This presentation focuses on conservation economy with respect to animal husbandry methane capture process. In effect, we are looking at the role of animal husbandry methane capture process within a conservation economy. This technology or this process focuses on addressing a currently seemingly pressing or controversial issue: the discharges of methane by cattle reared in animal husbandry, leading to advocacy by some for eating meat-like edibles produced with plant-based products and other genetically modified organisms, motivating the capture of the methane for utilization, hence enabling a conservation economy from the technological standpoint. And of course, discussions of the approaches citizens of a geographical space, be it a community, a region, or a nation, could take or adopt to ensure the sustaining of a conservation economy. Of course, the specifics of the utilization of the captured methane gas are yet defined somewhat as derivative of essential needs consequent on the prevailing civilization and the underpinning science. For the non-science viewers, please note that methane is nothing more than natural gas. Yes, the gas used to cook in most kitchens. Digressing, however, for a moment before taking a deep dive into the capture of animal husbandry methane, please click the subscribe button below if you have not as yet subscribed to the channel. I implore you to simply click and make now on the subscribe button below. The subscription would cause the system to keep you informed by notification of the next presentation the moment one is published, and also of course help me to more consistently continue to elicit the peace dividend of conservation economy. Now back to the presentation. The prevailing civilization, and also presumably supported, as claimed by some people, by the underlying sciences, continuing existence of life is compromised by the continuous discharge of the cattle collective all over the world, and that necessitates taking appropriate scientific steps to moderate the volume of such discharges. The manner of availing society of the removal of cattle discharges methane has been a major concern and has been an underlying factor in numerous controversies. There has obtained as consequence this divide between some advocating the stoppage of the eating of cattle for food and others advocating the feeding of cattle with algae instead of green grass, deemed the culprit of the production of the methane as byproduct of the digestion process of cattle. Of course, this has caused some level of rancor between citizens of the world who want to eat meat but not cattle, algae-fed cattle, and those who wish to inhibit descent and continue to advocate algae-fed cattle. The arguments are varied and need not be repeated here, as there are volumes written on the subject out there for the interested reader. As noted, one of the revolting approaches has been at inhibiting the eating of beef and other animal products, with substitution of plant products being preferred over the utilization of carbon dioxide by plants without the discharge of methane. In fact, this preference includes the advising of the forcible consumption of algae under a directive of WHO urging the use of algae in sorts of confectionaries and edibles. A singular objection to the abstinence from eating meat has been based on the disparity between animal proteins and plant proteins and the need to provide certain proteins that the human body cannot produce on its own, but must be acquired as animal protein by consumption. So the prevailing belief of the candid objection is that eating plant proteins, whether processed into meat-like products or not, does not amount to eating actual animal protein for the acquisition of the required proteins. This rationale for having to eat animal products has also led to another controversial posturing. The declaration of bugs, including insects and worms, as sources of animal proteins. Needless to state, there has been sharp condemnation of the attempt to force human beings to start to eat bugs instead of cattle and other animal products needed to acquire animal products. Logical reasoning informs then that the capture and sequestration by utilization into a raw material of the cattle discharge methane invariably also removes this thrust of inhibiting the eating of animal products by society at large. The resolution of the opposing views then is simply the capture of husbandry air and extraction of the methane with a recycling of the rest into the animal husbandry. Of course, a design of such efficacious performance necessarily integrates the air-gas separation process technology having become available in the Technology IP Bank as presented in the last technology and is as shown in the figure. Conceptually, the discharge gases of the cattle are captured and fed into an air-gas separation process or unit operation, which separates out as well as sequestrates the methane. By design, the methane capture process consists of large canopy over the husbandry expanse affixed with two lazy fans, each at the width sections of the rectangular bounds of the ground space, and also affixed with one or more outlets at the midpoints of the canopy top. It consists of air-gas separation process units formed of one or more air-gas separation equipment with base level inlet and top level as well as side outlet and a storage tank. The outlets on the canopy are connected with pipes to air compressors and in turn connected to base level inlets of the air gas separator equipment. And finally, the methane outlet of the air gas separation equipment, being the top ports, are connected to the storage tank, while the top side ports are left open for venting. During operation, the air compressor connected to the outlets on the canopy sucks air out of the husbandry space, creating a negative pressure for positive upward draft flow of the air, which flows through the compressor and into the air gas separation process. In the separation process, the methane is separated out from the vented air feed and is pumped into the storage tank, while the bulk methane-free air is pumped back into the husbandry space being vented. So then, going forward, there is the option to enable animal husbandry to in fact be not contributory to tenable or non-tenable issues of climate change by the simple adoption of an air gas separation unit process within the husbandry space. Moreover, the sequestration of the methane in storage instead of the usual outcome of uncontrolled venting prefers the option of provisioning a resource for utilization by a technology of a conservation economy to produce output for use in some other conservation economy technology. In addition, because the materials of the construction of the air gas separation process unit are mainly steel, the technology as well is well suited in enabling further utilization of discarded metal parts in every other region, allowing for the elimination of matter that would otherwise be branded as waste and as such meets the requirements of a technology of conservation economy. Now then, if interested in licensing this technology, please send an email to me. The email address is put in the pinned link section below, as are other useful information. Regarding licensing consideration, there are still some notes that should be of interest. First, the delivery of the technology to an animal husbandry would be more of deployment of just the air gas separation equipment integrated as a unit process. Also worthy of note of the technology design is that the air gas separation process, being modular as presented, can be built into a bank of modules to meet the processing needs of any husbandry. The bank of air gas separator equipment, of course, must be integrated, which may be implemented in myriad ways, either horizontal parallel, horizontal consecutive, vertical parallel, or vertical consecutive, or any combination of both. Therefore, all the way up to a very complex design. The air gas chemical technology by which the separation structure is manufactured, meaning the filtration base is manufactured, of course, is not available for licensing, being exclusively licensed to one company, and which company is set to undertake the manufacturing globally. Then, I thank you for being here, and I appreciate your coming to view the presentation, and hope and expect that you would consider coming back for the future presentations. The fact is, some might just change your perspective of society and life, even if you do not care to adopt the technologies yourself. Until the next presentation, I wish you be well.